good day everyone. I am Angel May Arabia and today I will be going to discuss about the reflective practice using learner attainment data, which is the learner's tests. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to first, determine the importance of learner's test score. Second, know the relationship between learner's attainment data and learner's test score. And lastly, find out the types of test scores. So, as a future educator, we should be able to know how to enhance and improve our teaching towards our students. Of course, by improving that, we should have evidences to let us aware if our students have something learned from us. So, some of the evidences that is reflective practice is the learner attainment data. Learner attainment data. These pertains to evidences and results of various assessments that are used in monitoring and evaluations of learners' progress achievement. So there are a lot of learner attainment data, and one of it is our test score. So through learner attainment data, a teacher can able to find out if their students have a progress during their lessons, if who among their students are improving. So through this, a teacher can able to, of course, to maintain healthy environment towards his or her students, because learner attainment data are used to find evidences if the students is really progress. If the students are having progress during the discussion of their teacher. So here are some examples of the learner attainment data. So learner attainment data include daily lesson life that shows all the lessons that need to be achieved by the learners. So when we say daily lesson plan, it is the most detailed standards-based plan that teachers will develop. It covers a day or week's work. So the second one is the electronic lab. It monitors individuals' attainment data, whether the learners pass or fail. One of the best common example of the electronic lab is the Google Forms or the Google Docs. Like when we answer our Google Forms, there is this something in the setting that after answering those questions, the teachers can able to find out if who among their students failed or passed during their assessment. So now we are going to proceed to the test scores. Those are results of formative assessment. A piece of information, usually a number that conveys the performance of an examinee on a test. So we all know that every one of us are familiar to what they call test scores. That every time we do an assessment, the result of the assessment or our score is what we call the test score. Norm referent interpretation means that the score conveys meaning about the examinee with regards to the standing among other examinee. So the best example for this is the individual score compared to other scores. So this is used by the teachers to help them determine who among their students has the highest and the lowest performing grades or the performing scores. The second one is the criterion reference interpretation. In here, the assessment criteria are already fixed. It usually delivers quick results unlike a norm reference interpretation. So now we will going to proceed to the two types of test score. The number one is the raw score. It is a score without any sort of adjustment or transformation. So the best example for this is when your teacher gives you 100 item test and you get 80 out of 100, so your raw score is 80. So there is no adjustment or there is no transformation to your score. So the second type of test score is a scaled score. It is the result of some transformation applied to your raw score. So if your raw score was 80 out of 100, in scaled score, you are given some points to add to your raw score. So there are some transformation to your score. Through learners' test scores, teachers can track whether the learners really learned and grasped the lessons and skills. So teacher, on the other hand, will also benefit from learners' test scores, since this will let them identify whether their instructions are working well, and if not, they can consider options for changes. So That is why our test scores are very important for us as a future educator. So that's the end of my report. Thank you, and let's proceed to the next reporter.
Good morning, everyone. I am Lerma Bacordo, and I am tasked to report about the reflective practice using learners' attainment data, learners' non-test data, and other information. So first, let's talk about reflective practice. So reflective practice is, in its simplest form, thinking about or reflecting on what you do. So it is closely linked to the concept of learning from experience, in that you think about what you did and what happened, and decide from that what you would do differently next time. So an example of this is when your teacher was kind of upset because you were late. So by that experience, you will reflect and then think of something so that it won't happen again. So according to John Dewey, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. So by thinking deeply or carefully about what happened there, you will learn something. So reflective practice for teacher is for them to analyze data that reveal if they are teaching effectively or not. So this is proven with the learner's test scores or learner's non-test data and other information. So again, reflective practice, thinking about or reflecting on what you do. So aside from learner's test scores, there is also learner's non-test data. So basically, it is about learners' performance. So there are different formats of non-testing assessments, such as first, portfolio assessment. So according to Danielson and Abrutin, 2000, the major purpose of a working portfolio is to serve as a holding tank for learners. So a portfolio may also be used to diagnose learners' needs. Both learners and teachers should have evidence of the learner's strengths and weaknesses in achieving learner's objective. This type of assessment allows teachers to be more accurate in evaluating learners' mastery of the content. So a portfolio assessment is a collection of students' works that are associated with standards you are required to learn. So this collection of work is gathered for a long period of time to reflect what you have been taught as well as what the students learn. So from teacher's perspective, the teacher will know either his or her student is already excellent or already understand the topic, or the student still needs improvement or remediation to further understand that certain topic. So from a student's perspective, students will question like, what have I learned? What do I still need to learn, and how can I get through it? So this can be provided to learners as reflection guides for their own learning. So next is the item analysis. So item analysis is a process which examines learners' responses to individual test items in order to assess the quality of each item and of the test as a whole. So this is to improve test items and to enhance the teacher's skills in test construction and to identify specific areas which need improvement. So by analyzing test results, we can evaluate learners' achievement in several areas. Specific weaknesses of an individual learner or a class can also be determined using this approach. So the results of item analysis may inform us or the teachers of the necessary intervention, example, enrichment activities, reteaching, and remediation that we can provide to the learners. Lastly, we have the teacher observation. So the teacher observes the students while they work to make certain the students understand the assignment or on the task. So an example is cooperative learning. So here, the teacher can assess students' abilities by only looking at them finishing their activities, and as well as observing their behavior in the class. So the teacher will know if someone or that a certain student do really understand the topic discussed, or if not, he or she will again reteach the topic and give more examples. So I think that's it. I hope you have learned something from me. Now let's move forward to the next reporter.
Good day everyone, my name is Reita Spihagonov and my report is all about reflective practice through performance evaluation. When we say reflective practice, we reflect on our own self. We have an awareness when it comes to our actions, thoughts and emotions, which is it will increase our confidence. We examine what we have in ourselves for us to better understand, which can lead to improvement. Next, students as evaluators. When we engage students, we give them the chance to discover and develop more of themselves. They can be able to participate, and wherein educator gives students suitable opportunities to express their opinions, and where students can honestly show their concerns. The difference of meaningful student involvement. Meaningful student involvement offers more and not just temporary but permanent when it comes to involving students. It is something that having important role and has a widely applicable effects, and sustainable, which is will maintain the development of all students. Over the course of a school year, teachers might want a variety of evaluation from students. This may include having a large-scale forum. Students can consider themselves as evaluators. Students' opinion in all levels are canvassed, which means it is to determine opinions or sentiments of students in that forum. Next, it is a must and essential to create regular pattern or design of evaluative feedback in a lesson, since it would surely contribute in improving development in a lessons and to know whether the lessons given by the teacher is effective or not. In other words, it will help teachers know where they are lacking and where they should improve in making a lesson. Facilitating a series of one-to-one or small group discussions for students is also essential. They could be able to share their thoughts, opinions, and ideas. For example, the disengaged, high achievers, young women, young men, or students not from the majority culture in the surrounding community are feeling about their learning experiences or shaping a new initiative in the classroom or school. Purposeful assessments. By involving students as evaluators, schools can develop purposeful, impacting, and authentic assessments of classes, schools, teachers, and enact accountability and ownership for all participants in the learning process. Effective evaluations may include student evaluations of classes and schools, student evaluations of teachers, student evaluations of self, and student-led parent-teacher conferences, where students present their learning as partners with teachers and parents, instead of as passive recipients of teaching done to them. Places for students as evaluators. Following are some activities that engage students as evaluators. In the classroom, wherein students evaluate themselves, their peer teachers, curricula, and classes, which is very effective, where they can provide feedback, some changes, and expectations about their teachers and administrators. In the administration, students is involved in administrators. They can share their opinion and evaluate the effects and outcomes. In short, students is part in decision making as their way of evaluating, and it is very effective. In culture, student is comparing the student-teacher relationship and also evaluate students' relationship if both students teachers have the same beliefs, similarities, and traits. If the relationship of student teachers inside the classroom are okay throughout school year. Considerations for students as evaluators. Engaging students as evaluators should not mean replacing any other evaluations. Instead, it should be seen as an additional information source. Students as evaluators is effective But let's not forget that whether students are evaluating themselves, their peers, classroom curricula, school climate, or their teachers directly, student evaluations should not replace teacher evaluations. This is an important reality to consider. And that would be all for my report. Thank you so much for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Angela Joy Panarigan of BSN 3C, and this is a continuation of the topic Reflective Practice through Performance Evaluation. Allow me to introduce to you number 2, which is the peer as evaluators. When you hear the word peer, what comes into your mind? When we say peer, it refers to a group of people that share commonalities. For example, if you are working in a school as a teacher, your co-teacher can be considered as your peer because you share the same job, the same duty, and you have understood the same responsibility. In classroom, you can consider your classmates as peer because all of you are students of that specific classroom that share the same ideas, including students' responsibilities and classroom activities. So let us first define what is peer evaluation. Peer evaluation is a type of performance evaluation that is carried out by one or more people with common abilities. This is a method for keeping a high level of quality while improving output. According to my research, peer evaluation is an effective way of collaborative learning and evaluation because we are able to receive feedback from our teammates, classmates, or co-workers on regards of our performance, and that will help us to assess ourselves and our actions. In connection, we as someone who is being evaluated by our peers can see if there are things we need to change, improve, or avoid on the way we perform. In short, peer evaluation can make us realize our strengths and weaknesses and can maintain a high level of quality while improving output or performance. So, what is the purpose of peer evaluation? The main purpose of peer evaluation is to help peers keep on track, identify mistakes, learn problem-solving skills, and will allow growth and allow managers to discover hidden talents within the team members. Peer evaluation helps us to monitor our performance and to allow ourselves to monitor other performance as well, or our peers' performance, if they are the one who will be evaluated. It also identifies mistakes, and by having identified mistakes, we are able to make solutions that will serve as the key for us to grow and improve our performance. Another is peer evaluation allow everyone to be the judge or to be the one who will criticize his or her peers' performance or output. It will give the opportunity for the evaluator to practice his way of judging a product or performance, and at the same time will help the one who is being evaluated to be knowledgeable on his or her performance about the strengths or the weaknesses. For the negative evaluation, of course, it is up to the one who is being evaluated on how he or she will take the negative evaluations. It's either he will let it devastate his life or can be an inspiration to make a better performance for the next time. Now let us move on how to make peer evaluation work. First, in order to have an effective peer evaluation, it must have the presence or the support from the school administrators. Administrators understand the work of the teachers, know the value of teacher empowerment, and see themselves as facilitators. Please take note that it is important to have the evaluators being knowledgeable enough on what are they assessing or on what field they are evaluating to ensure the validity of the evaluations. So if the teachers are being the ones who will be evaluated, then it is important that there is a support from the school administrators because among all people, they understand the teacher's work and the teacher's standards. Next is the trust. It is the foundation for good communication that allow for self-evaluation. Another one is time. This practice, like anything else we want to learn and grow from, requires time, sometimes even outside of school hours. Peer evaluation becomes more valid if we will pay more attention without rushing time on the one we are evaluated. This is because having enough time on evaluating someone's performance helps us to focus on making fair judgment. Last is, in doing peer evaluation, it needs to be voluntary. There is a tendency that if someone who evaluates only evaluates because he or she is pressured to do the duty, he may end up not taking peer evaluation seriously. Here are a few tips for tackling those peer evaluations without losing your mind in the process. First tip is be honest but diplomatic. If your co-teacher is great at presenting lessons in classroom management but bad at meeting deadlines, say so rather than cover up the latter. But say diplomatically. You might try something like, Teacher Dana does a great job of presenting lessons. Sometimes, however, he gets so caught up in his work that it comes in late. You will still get the same message across, only you're being just a little less harsh to Teacher Dana. Number 2, support your assertions with data. Say something like, Teacher Dana promotes 90% of her students to the next level or next grade without any learning difficulties experienced. It's clear that she is passionate on her teaching profession. Number 3, try not to let your personal relationship cloud your judgment. In reality, you shouldn't let your friendship or lack of friendship influence the content of peer evaluations. Rather, focus on your colleagues' abilities and performance. For example, your friend Kenneth might be the kindest person you know, but if he is not the best worker in your department, don't say that he is. Number 4, don't rush through the process. The feedback you provide on a peer evaluation could help determine whether a colleague gets a bonus, raise, or promotion. So give that task the time and attention it deserves. Think about the way you're wording your answers and aim to provide constructive criticism where appropriate that will help your colleagues grow professionally. After all, you'd want them to do the same for you. Peer evaluations can be challenging to write, even when you're able to do anonymously, which is sometimes the case. But even if your name isn't going on that document, my advice or the tips from Backman 2018 still need to be applied. So, use it to make the process more productive and less stressful. This will be the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
Good day, everyone. I am May Jane Paragoso, and for the continuation of our discussion on reflective practice through performance evaluation, I will be discussing on supervisors as evaluators. According to Sullivan and Glantz 2000, supervision is the process of engaging teachers in instructional dialogue for the purpose of improving teaching and increasing student achievement. To make it more understandable, it is the process of improving instruction in order to facilitate student learning. Teacher monitoring by a school administrator or supervisor is one of the most critical parts of excellent teaching. Teachers can improve their teaching abilities by using a range of tools and resources supplied by the Department of Education. The function of supervisors as an evaluator of instruction is to establish within the bureaucratic inspectional type supervision. The work of supervisors is one who attempts to help within the enhancement of instruction is established in democratic practices. As a result, supervisors and individuals concerned with supervision in any case have confronted a basic part to strive. To be specific, the unresolved predicament between the necessity to assess a bureaucratic function and the desire to genuinely assess instructors within the instructional process an equitable and professional objective. There are 3 phases Superiors program of Department of Education. We have the Phase 1, it will rely on teacher help based on data from the teacher's strengths and needs assessment or the TSNA and individual plan for professional development or IPPD. Phase 2, the actual support activities section of the conference preparation is divided into 3 sub-phases: pre-conference, actual conference, and post-conference. Phase 3, allow for a little pause in order to perform the required support intervention assignment. The most of the hand-holding fades as teachers gain authority and the professional learning community emerges. Tools for instructional supervision. The CB-PAST formative appraisal tool is being used as an instructional supervision form. This relates the instructional monitoring process to the formative evaluation of the teacher's performance. There are 6 instructional supervision support intervention strategies. First, we have study groups. This is a study group for instructors who want to work together on curriculum development and instructional innovation. Next, action research. Teacher does research to address problem that is closely relevant to the field of expertise, in this case, education. Through action research, teachers get the abilities they need to tackle student learning issues. Peer teaching or coaching. To guarantee that all students receive high-quality instruction, teaching is a collaborative effort. It's a method of professional development that allows teachers to consult with one another, discuss, and share teaching strategies that help students learn better. Next, mentoring. It's a supervising strategy where a master teacher experienced teacher helps or guides another teacher through their professional growth. Next, conferencing. The school administrator and the teacher meet for a discussion after the classroom observation. It gives each educator the additional help they need to master self-analysis, self-appraisal, and self-improvement while working for themselves. Lastly, we have walkthrough. Rooming in a classroom is a data gathering that can assist members of the professional learning community in improving their teaching abilities. It is a method of visiting classrooms for a short length of time in order to observe the academic program and give feedback to teachers. So that would be all for our discussion. Thank you for watching.